Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, a deadly Uri attack continues to be our top focus this morning. Now, Home Minister Rajnath Singh is to chair a review meeting over the Uri attack today in just a short while from now. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar is also likely to meet and brief Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the attack. We'll get you all the details on the big story this morning. Let us begin with the headlines. Those behind Uri attack won't go unpunished, says the Prime Minister. Home Minister says Pakistan a terrorist state, calls for its isolation, calls high-level meeting. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari says Uri attack a result of use of cross-border terror by one particular country. India says Pakistan using poison instead of dialogue as it launches a strong protest at the NAM summit. Cauvery Supervisory Committee to meet in Delhi to decide the quantum of water to be released to Tamil Nadu and other states. Security beefed up in Karnataka to avoid any untoward incident. And United Russia Party, backed by Russian President Vladimir Putin, far ahead in the parliamentary elections. Exit poll suggests it has taken 44% of the votes polled. The top story this morning, the Uri militant attack has been one of the worst in recent history, with 17 army personnel being killed and over 20 injured in the Sunday morning ambush. Now, the condition of some of those injured are serious. The army says the attack bears the marking of Pakistan and that the terrorists belong to Jaish-e-Mohammed terror outfit.
In the worst single strike on the army in Jammu and Kashmir in 26 years, 17 army personnel were killed and 20 injured by 4 heavily armed terrorists on Sunday morning. The terrorists, suspected to be from Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed, sneaked into the administrative buildings and store complex of 10 Dogra Infantry Battalion in Uri sector, around 6 kilometers from the line of control. The terrorists lobbed 17 grenades in 3 minutes, which resulted in a massive fire, burning barracks and tents in a 150-meter radius. 13 soldiers who were sleeping were burnt alive and 17 soldiers were critically injured with severe burns. The attack took place during a change of command, where 10 Dogra Regiment was in the process of moving out, making space for the 6 Bihar Regiment soldiers.
सुबह 5:30 बजे उरी सेक्टर में मिलिट्री बेस पे टेररिस्ट अटैक हुआ और ये रेयर सेक्शन में हुआ, जहाँ पे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सेक्शन था, और फायरिंग की वजह से टेंटों में आग लगी और वहाँ की बिल्डिंग में आग लगी। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे 17 जवान शहीद हो गए और 4 टेररिस्ट मारे गए।
The brutal attack ended 3 hours later at 8:30 a.m. with the killing of 4 terrorists. Army sources said the terrorists sneaked into the camp via nalas at the periphery of the camp, breaching the 7-foot-high rear wall by cutting the barbed wire at about 4:30 a.m. The weapons recovered from the slain terrorists, 4 AK-47 rifles, 4 underbarrel grenade launchers and ammunition had Pakistani markings.
Since the terrorists had some items which had Pakistani markings on that, I have spoken to the Pakistan Director General of Military Operations and conveyed our serious concerns about the same. During this firefight, all 4 terrorists have been killed by the Indian Army. The killed terrorists, they were all foreign terrorists, and as per the initial reports, they belong to Jaish-e-Mohammed Tanzim.
From the morning until afternoon on Sunday, army helicopters conducted more than 20 sorties to ferry the injured soldiers to the hospital. 7 of the 20 injured soldiers who were evacuated in helicopters to the 92 base hospital in Srinagar are said to be in critical condition. Out of the 17 martyrs, 15 were from the 6th Bihar Regiment and 2 to the 10 Dogra Regiment. The attack comes 2 years after militants had carried out a similar type of attack at Mohra in the same area. On December 5, 2014, 6 militants stormed an army camp at Uri and killed 8 soldiers, including a lieutenant colonel, 3 Jammu and Kashmir policemen. This was the 3rd attack on the army in North Kashmir in the past 1 month. Earlier, terrorists had attacked an army convoy in Baramulla town, killing 2 soldiers. In another attack, 3 soldiers were injured. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that those behind the terror attack in Uri will not be spared. Now, while India has raised the picture for terming Pakistan a terrorist state, Islamabad has sought actionable proof of its involvement. Now, Home Minister Rajnath Singh is holding a high-level meeting following the attack.
President Pranab Mukherjee's reaction to the Uri attacks, calling it outrageous. The assurance for action against perpetrators of the deadly attack coming from the Prime Minister. The Home Minister calling for the immediate need to isolate Pakistan, calling it in no less words a terrorist state. He said the attackers were well trained. After postponing his scheduled visit to Russia and the US, Rajnath Singh held a high-level review meeting in Delhi. Home Secretary Rajiv Mehrshi will be in Srinagar today to review the situation.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भी पाकिस्तान एक प्रकार से अलग थलग आइसोलेट कंप्लीटली हो जाए, स्वाभाविक है कि हमारी कूटनीति देश की उस दिशा में भी काम करेगी.
Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar and Army Chief General Dalbir Singh visited Kashmir on Sunday to review the overall security situation. The Defence Minister instructing the Army to take firm action against those responsible. India stepping up the pressure on Pakistan, saying India is not the lone victim to the country's continued support to terror elements.
Time has come for the world to declare Pakistan as a terrorist state and isolate it.
एक प्रॉक्सी वार है इसमें, और एक देश जो है पाकिस्तान जो इसी में लगा हुआ है. इस तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर में अफरा तफरी मचाई जाए.
Pakistan rejecting India's charge as totally baseless and irresponsible. Islamabad alleging that India has a history of blaming Pakistan after every terror strike. Islamabad has asked India to share any actionable intelligence regarding the involvement of the country in the attack. The country also blaming India for using the terror attack to divert attention from the unrest in Kashmir. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And all the major political parties and leaders have strongly condemned the terrorist attack on an army base at Uri, in which 17 soldiers lost their lives. Let's listen in.
आज दुख का दिन है क्योंकि जम्मू कश्मीर में सेना के हमारे जवान मारे गए हैं.
We are very sad about this entire incident, and the entire country stands behind the army of our country. We show total solidarity with the forces of our country, and there should not be any sign of demoralization, irrespective of which political party we may belong to. We are with the forces.
ब्रिगेड हेडक्वार्टर जो इंडियन आर्मी का है उड़ी में, उसमें जो है फिदायीन हमला हुआ है, और टीवी चैनल के मुताबिक समझा जाता है कि 4 फिदायीन कैंप में घुसे हैं, और ये कोई नई बात है नहीं.
We condemn this terrorist attack, and we also want Pakistan to not indulge in this sort of cross-border terrorism. That should be taken up seriously. And terrorism is not a solution to the current crisis in Kashmir. That can only be solved through a political dialogue with all the stakeholders.
पाकिस्तान जो है वो पूरी तरह से कश्मीर की जो समस्या है घाटी की, उसका पूरा लाभ उठा रहा. भारत सरकार को इस पर गंभीरता से सब लोगों से, सब पार्टियों से सलाह मशवरा करके क्या आगे कदम उठाया जाए, इसका जरूर विचार करना चाहिए.
पूरी कड़ाई के साथ निपटना पड़ेगा और देश को उनको जवाब देना पड़ेगा.
And India has launched a strong protest at the NAM summit over the Uri attack. Now, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari said that such an attack is a result of one country sponsoring cross-border terror. Minister of State for External Affairs MJ Akbar said that Pakistan was using poison instead of dialogue to resolve issues.
India has yet again made a strong pitch against terrorism, seeking concrete action and setting up of a mechanism by the non-aligned movement countries to fight it off.
No cause justifies the indiscriminate killing of innocent civilians as a means to achieve a political goal or change of policies. Terrorism is one of the most egregious sources of human rights violations today. and its use as an instrument of state policy is to be unequivocally condemned.
The Vice President's remarks came against the backdrop of India raising its concerns at various international fora over Pakistan's support to cross-border terrorism. The Vice President also strongly condemned the terrorist attack on the Army administrative base in Uri on Sunday. In a statement, he said that such attacks are the result of the use of cross-border terrorism by one particular country in our region. We shall deal with such provocations in a befitting manner. Earlier at the NAM Summit, Minister of State for External Affairs M.J. Akbar lodged a strong protest against Islamabad for its mischievous and malignant support to terror. Akbar said that the terrorist attack in Uri has highlighted Pakistan's desire to use poison instead of dialogue.
Pakistan has reduced itself to pariah status in the international community because of its hypocrisy, because of its blatant sponsorship of terrorism, of terrorists, because it gives sanctuary, support, both domestic and international, to terrorists, because of its investment in this evil and menace of terrorism.
Meanwhile, Pakistan raised the Kashmir issue at the 17th NAM Summit and said peace in South Asia cannot be achieved without the settlement of the issue of Jammu and Kashmir in accordance with the resolutions of the UN Security Council. With camera person Saroj Kumar Das, Shyam Sundar and Shiva Kumar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And both the US and Britain condemned the terrorist attack in Uri. Now, as the US statement issued by the State Department spokesperson John Kirby said, the United States strongly condemns the terrorist attack on an Indian Army base in Kashmir. We extend our condolences to the victims and their families. The United States is committed to our strong partnership with the Indian government to combat terrorism. Meanwhile, British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said that the UK strongly condemns this terrorist attack in Kashmir. I offer my deepest condolences to the victims and their families and friends. The UK condemns all forms of terrorism and stands shoulder to shoulder with India in the fight against terrorism and in bringing the perpetrators to justice. Meanwhile, the United Nations also has strongly condemned the attack. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said that he hoped that all involved will prioritize the re-establishment of stability and prevent any further loss of lives.
Terrorism is there in the Kashmir from Pakistan. Pakistani militants are going freely over there. We can't say that the state is involved, but the state policies are behind that they cannot control this thing.
Meanwhile, curfew continues to remain in force for the 73rd consecutive day today in several parts of Kashmir, including in some areas of Srinagar. The security has also been beefed up in wake of the deadly Uri terror attack. The normal life in the valley continues to remain disrupted. Curfew is in place in Shopia, Bandipora and Ganderbal after separatists called for march to these three districts. The police and paramilitary forces have been heavily deployed in curfew-bound areas of Srinagar and other towns. Now, shops, commercial establishments and petrol pumps remain closed and traffic is off the roads. Now, clashes and protests were also reported on Sunday from several south, north and central Kashmir areas. The violence in the wake of killing of Hizbul militant Burhan Wani has left 81 people dead. Meanwhile, in a significant political development, PDP's leader Nisar Ahmed Mandu on Sunday resigned from the party, saying that he cannot side with what he called was bloodbath of Kashmiris. He is the second prominent leader to resign in the wake of ongoing unrest in Kashmir. Tariq Hamid Kara, the founder member of the PDP and Lok Sabha member, had earlier resigned from the Srinagar constituency. News at 10. We'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, today, the Cauvery Supervisory Committee will meet in the national capital to decide on the quantum of water to be released to Tamil Nadu. The committee, led by Union Water Resources Secretary Shashi Shekhar, is analysing the data given by Karnataka and Tamil Nadu government, and the decision may differ if the information provided is found to be inadequate. Now, according to PTI, both the states have submitted data to the committee about the withdrawal of water, its utilization, variation in rainfall, and its impact on the actual runoff over a period of 29 years in their respective Cauvery Basin areas. The panel had sought the information from them in its last meeting on 12th of September. Earlier, the Supreme Court had asked Tamil Nadu government to approach the Cauvery Supervisory Committee on the quantum of water to be released after the period of 10 days was over. The security, meanwhile, has been beefed up in different parts of Karnataka ahead of the meeting.
कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट बहुत ही इम्प्रैक्टिकल और ग्राउंड रियलिटी को देखकर नहीं दिया गया, ये हमारा मत है। लेकिन अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट को क्रिटिसाइज तो नहीं कर सकते हैं। उसका आदेश पालन करने के लिए कर्नाटका गवर्नमेंट को पानी छोड़ना पड़ा, अब छोड़ रहे हैं। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी कठिनाई की बात यह है कि कर्नाटक के लोगों को पीने के लिए पानी नहीं है।
And a look at what else is slated for the day. Let's take a look in the day ahead. The general debate at the United Nations General Assembly session will begin from today. Leaders from 195 countries will gather to discuss various issues like the war in Syria, climate change, terrorism, refugee crisis and tensions in Korean Peninsula. It will be running through 26th of September and will be the last for the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon as well as for US President Barack Obama. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will address the general debate on 26th of September. The Supreme Court will hear a plea seeking cancellation of a bail granted to RJD leader Shahabuddin by the Patna High Court in a case pertaining to the killing of a youth in Siwan town of Bihar. The plea was filed by Advocate Prashant Bhushan on behalf of Chandrakeshwar Prasad, whose 3 sons were murdered allegedly at the behest of the controversial politician. The Bihar government will also move the apex court to appeal against the High Court order. The Supreme Court will also hear a plea regarding the disproportionate assets case of Samajwadi Party chief Mulayam Singh Yadav. The charge was that they had allegedly accumulated assets worth over 100 crore rupees between 1999 and 2005, a part of it coinciding with Mulayam's tenure as the chief minister. The petition sought an investigation against Mulayam Singh, his sons Akhilesh and Prateek, and daughter-in-law Dimple Yadav. Let's get to some international news. Well, the latest Russian election is unlikely to loosen President Vladimir Putin's grip in power. United Russia Party, backed by Putin, is far ahead in the nation's parliamentary election, taking at least 44%, exit polls suggest. Now, speaking at the United Russia headquarters, the Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, who is also the party's chairman, announced a victory. Now, Putin has enjoyed 17 years in power as either president or prime minister and does not belong to any designated party. But he visited the headquarters of United Russia with Medvedev after the vote to congratulate activists on their victory. The nationalists LDPR and the Communist Party are way behind United Russia with about 14 to 16% each. Meanwhile, the liberal opposition parties failed to pass the 5% threshold needed for the party list representation. The turnout was significantly down from the 2011 elections, just below 40%. Now, voters were choosing 450 MPs in the State Duma for the next 5 years. Now, Mikhail Kasyanov, the former Russian Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition Parnas party, said that the vote was not free and fair and that the low turnout was a dangerous sign.
Трудно, тяжело, а люди все равно за Единую Россию не проголосовали. Ну, во-первых, о чем, я думаю, о чем это говорит? Говорит о том, что Во всяком случае, люди видят, что представители «Единой России», ведущей политической силы, реально стараются для людей.
Понятно, что выборы, как мы изначально, когда мы входили в эти выборы, мы говорили, что они не свободные и несправедливые. Сейчас мы будем уже говорить о третьем факторе. Достоверны ли сами данные по голосованию.
And investigations continue into Saturday's bomb attack in New York City. But so far, no links have been found to global groups and the motive remains unclear. Now, 2 days after a bombing injured 29 people in Manhattan, police are still looking for clues in the area. A few blocks away from the blast site, investigators found a pressure cooker with wiring and a mobile phone, but it is unclear whether that suspicious device has any connection to Saturday's explosion. The blast shook New York City's Chelsea neighborhood and sent panicked people scrambling for cover. The mayor of the New York City called the bombing an intentional and criminal act, but declined calling it a terrorist attack. Meanwhile, after the incident, some 1,000 extra security personnel are being deployed to New York's transport hubs. On Tuesday, President Barack Obama and other world leaders are due to attend the United Nations General Assembly in New York.
We felt like it was kind of close to an earthquake feeling, but you knew the sound that it was something kind of crazy. You knew it was something bad when it happened.
We know there was a bombing. That much we do know. We know it's a very serious incident, but we have a lot more work to do to be able to say what kind of motivation was behind this. Was it a political motivation, a personal motivation? What was it? We do not know that yet.
Let's get you some more international news. Here is the World Wrap. 4 airstrikes hit rebel-held parts of the Syrian city of Aleppo, the first raids there since a ceasefire began last Monday. Now, several people were injured, but it is not clear who carried out the airstrikes. Earlier, the US-led coalition struck the Syrian army in Deir al-Zor town on Saturday, killing 60 people. The development prompted UN emergency meeting and Russia saying that the future of the truce is in doubt. The US military said that the coalition believed it was attacking Islamic State positions. German Chancellor Angela Merkel's CDU party has suffered big losses in Berlin's state elections, exit polls suggest. The party is expected to be ousted from the state governing coalition with the centre-left Social Democrats. Meanwhile, the right-wing anti-migrant party Alternative for Germany is projected to enter the state parliament for the first time. Merkel's popularity has waned since her decision last year to allow more than 1 million migrants into Germany. A Somali general and at least 6 of his bodyguards have been killed by a suicide car bomber. The attacker rammed a car carrying explosives into General Mohammed Jimale Gubale's convoy near the Defence Ministry headquarters in the Somalian capital, Mogadishu. Now, Al-Shabaab claimed the attack and accused the general of plotting against them. Al-Shabaab opposes the government of President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, who is backed by Western powers and is seeking re-election. China and Russia have carried out joint naval exercises in the South China Sea of China's southern Guangdong province. Now, the drills come nearly 2 months after an international tribunal dismissed Beijing's claims to most of the waters. Now, vessels including a missile destroyer, anti-submarine vessels, missile frigates and helicopters and submarines took part in the exercise. And on to some sporting action. The Rio Paralympic Games have come to an end. Well, during the closing ceremony, the flag for the 2020 Games was handed over to Tokyo. The Paralympic Games, held in the Brazilian capital, saw 11 days of competition. China dominated the medals table, followed by Britain, Ukraine and the United States. The Indian athletes also did well. India's 19-member team won 2 gold, 1 silver and 1 bronze medal. In men's high jump, Mariappan Thangvelu won the gold medal, while Varun Singh Bhatti won the bronze medal. Now, Deepa Malik bagged a silver in shot put, thus becoming the first Indian para-athlete to win a medal at the Games. Devendra Jadeja won the second gold in India in javelin by surpassing his own record that he had set off in the 2004 edition of the Games. And in the Davis Cup World Group playoff, India suffered a 5-0 whitewash at the hands of Spain on Sunday. Now, Indian youngster Sumit Nagal produced a spirited performance in his Davis Cup debut before going down 3-6, 6-1, 3-6 to Marc Lopez of Spain in the first reverse singles of their World Group tie on Sunday, while David Ferrer got the better of Ramkumar Ramanathan 6-2, 6-2. Now, Spain had earlier taken an unassailable 3-0 lead in the 5-match tie to book a spot in the World Group on Saturday. They then increased their lead to 4-0 and later made it to 5-0 on Sunday and returned to the World Group after a gap of 2 years. Well, that's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha TV. Thanks for watching.